Hi, friends.
Oh my goodness, it has just been an insane
Day.
since we walked in here at 2. I am going to be completely honest with you guys because we're friends. I have to pee so bad right now.
Pee.
Because there was no time. I've had to go
I can-
for like the last 45 minutes, but I'm just going to suffer through the show and
Why
go
don't you just go while I talk by myself?
No.
Yes.
It's okay. I'll make it through.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, if
I
if
drank
not, that's
coffee before I came in
Yes.
here, and then I was so thirsty in the meeting. I had a can of Diet Pepsi and some water, and now I'm like, whew.
okay. You want me to tell them about my interview? I could.
Yeah,
tell them
no,
about my
I want to hear.
interview?
No, because
Yeah,
I want to
what's
hear.
up? Okay.
No, I want to hear. I'm ready for it.
Okay. Well, I just had such an amazing interview, and I was actually being interviewed myself. So it's
What?
the Houston moms. Yeah, that's why I wasn't at that
Oh,
meeting. Yes, yes.
fun!
And it's so cool, and I was so honored because it's Houston moms, and they picked me to start their Moms on the Move series that they're doing. And
gosh.
it's basically like, I guess, high-profile moms and how they juggle everything. And so it was really cool because she was asking me all these questions, and I hadn't really said anything out loud before where I've always thought certain things. And so it was really neat because one of the questions she asked is, what do your kids do you think they think of you working? And one of the things I said was, you know, my co-anchor and my friend, Caroline Collins, she always tells me what it was like to see her mom working because her mom worked throughout the whole time. Yes. And I said, you know, I have these little angels from God, and my job is to make sure that they are kind humans and they see someone working hard that's passionate about their job and also making time for them and showing that they love each other. I think also it's such a big deal to have a strong family unit. And I also quoted Tucker Carlson, whatever you think about him. I was reading something about him, and he has, I think, 4 children, but he was saying, which I do agree with, that it starts at home. And if the parents are happy and if they have a good unit and they're not arguing, then that really does trickle down to the kids.
Yes.
And so, you know, I feel like they're little lights, and it brings out, she said, what's the best part of motherhood? And I said that it brings out the best version of myself and my friends and family that I haven't seen before, which is so true.
Aw.
Because they just bring a smile to everyone's face, right? And like
They do.
you're patient, you're kind, you're, you know, even with like when she came over for Thanksgiving, like Connor and her boyfriend and her were like so sweet, right? Like you just see another side, and
Yeah.
it's great. And parenting is great, but I will say that you have to parent like you don't work, and you have to work like you don't parent. You know, and
that's a good point.
That's difficult for all parents, I
Yeah.
think. And I think that what Houston Moms blog was doing, or Houston Moms and just parents in general, to be able to hear from other people and know you're not alone, I think is so huge. And I think that being authentic and just saying it like it is. One of the other questions she has is, how do you stay so positive? I'm like, I do not stay positive all the time. Some days are good, some days are bad.
And people even ask me that, and I'm not a mom, how am I always positive? Because it looks like on the news and on social media
Yes,
we are always
yes.
positive, but no, definitely not the case all the time. I know you
No.
come in here so worried about your kids sometimes and what
Yes.
happened in the morning, and
Yes,
maybe it
yes,
wasn't a
yes.
smooth morning, and
Right,
like then you're
right.
upset about that, and
Yes.
but you're not saying that on the news or
Right,
saying
right.
that on social media. But I think that overall, aside from just being a good example to your kids, how to be kind and just an amazing person, because you are. I think that there, especially for your daughter, I think that there's no better example you can set than to be working in a job that you really do love and you're passionate about what you do. And she literally can see Rashi, mom,
Yes.
on the TV.
Yes, yes.
And that's such a good example, and that will instill a work ethic in her that you would want her to have.
Definitely. And I think that is what sets people apart, is their work ethic.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have a good work ethic, I think in any industry, and we know people in all industries, you are not successful, because it is all about showing up, being there late, doing the work even when you don't want to. And these are probably things that you've heard of when you're working out in a workout class. Do the work when you don't want to. This morning I was on the Peloton, and there was negative parts of me. Like it was not even zero that I wanted to be on this thing. I'm like, I do not want to do this. I don't want, when you just don't want to do the workout.
I know.
But you just do it anyways and you feel great afterwards.
Yeah. So. But even for your son though, I think that is a great example for him too, because one day when he grows up and he's older, he'll respect the heck out of a girl that he's dating or maybe even marrying, because he's seen how hard you work, and then he's going to be like, well, this girl loves what she does, and it's it's a positive thing. So I love that, and I'm so proud of you, and you should be so proud of yourself.
Thank you.
And your kids should be proud of you, and Daniel.
Yes,
and I love that.
I'm just happy to be, there's a lot of things to be grateful for, and so I just have to remind myself, like we all do, that we're grateful for the little things and the big ones.
Yeah, everybody's situations are different depending on where you work, and we have a very unique situation.
Yes.
But I think that's why so many moms are going to relate to you, because one, they're going to want to know like the insides of what you do, because everyone thinks it's so her and I are like, it's not that interesting. It's very normal. But people, they like to see what goes on and hear how you would deal with being a mom and a high profile job. It's crazy.
Yes, it is. It is crazy. And it's not to, my example is one, but everybody has their struggles, their, responsibilities that they have. You could be a parent, not a parent, married, not married, but still you find there are a lot of things that you have to do and are responsible for. And so I think at the end of the day, it's just,
when is this story going to come out, or when is all this going to be a thing?
I don't know. She's gonna let me know, but it'll be on YouTube, and they'll put a clip on Instagram and stuff.
Oh, yay.
So whenever that happens, I'll let y'all know.
So exciting. Well, let's take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and get into some of our fun topics for the day. Well, this story really just spoke to me, and I think it's because of the nature of our job. Like we aren't always on call, but if something's happening, we literally are on call.
Right.
And so with that, you kind of have to use your common sense. Like if today's weather got really bad, we just know like, okay, our phones need to be on. We may be called any second, or we just voluntarily walk in early or just say, hey, we're coming in early because things are getting bad. So anyway. We're not always on call, but like in a way we are. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So anyway, millions of workers in Australia can now legally ignore their bosses outside of work hours, and it is all because of the right to disconnect law, which went into effect on Monday. It does not prohibit managers from contacting employees, but instead gives those workers the rights to not respond if the reason the company is reaching out is deemed unnecessary. Australia's Fair Work Commission can fine companies up to 94,000 Australian dollars if they don't comply. That's equal to the more than $63,000 in the U.S. Woo!
I think this is great, right?
I'm coming from people who are like unofficially on call all the time. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's, I don't know what other job, when you're on call, like say you're a doctor or a nurse or something.
And that's why I use that term like unofficially. It's kind of like a known thing in our business. But I also, on the other hand, being passionate about our jobs, I want to be here whenever things are happening that need coverage. So there's a little bit of that as well, you know. But it is expected that we have our phones on and we're very responsive. So the fact that in Australia you can just be like, it's not work hours.
What a liberating feeling that is. Like
I know.
I sometimes think about like, I don't even know what life is like outside of
I know.
that.
I know. Very.
Like how?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like my boyfriend's job, when he's off on the weekends, like he's completely off, because there's been maybe like one time in our whole relationship that he had to deal with something on the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I've shared this with you friends. So I am more active on Facebook now, my work Facebook page, because I've been told by the bosses that I need to interact more and post more, which is fine. But now it becomes a thing to where in my subconscious, I'm thinking, what can I post? What should I do? Because it's not a natural thing for me right now. And so,
but Instagram's so natural. So are all your Instagram posts going to your Facebook?
No.
Why? Why don't you have them linked?
Because I thought they're supposed to be like different.
No, who cares? It's Facebook. Just
Is that what you do?
Yeah, it's Facebook.
No, I separate post everything.
No, don't waste your time on that.
That is liberating news there.
I mean, yeah, sometimes I do separate them. Like I separated the Simone Biles stuff because that was special. But like if it ain't special, don't separate it. That's just a waste of your time and effort.
Yeah.
And then it's probably never going to get put on Facebook.
That's true.
Regardless.
Well, the point is that we have to be posting and sharing and stuff like that throughout. We're not off. So we're not off Saturday, Sundays. Like when we're actually off, we have to post. So
yeah.
You almost, because you have to feel that. I mean, you do it naturally, which is great. But I'm saying like, for me, that it's still very unnatural, and I've been doing it for so long, where it's actually a thing that I.
Well, you post on Instagram regularly, so I would just sync up your Instagram account with your Facebook account, and then just post all that. Because even my stories go to my Facebook page.
Oh. Well, we all learn something new, don't we?
Yeah.
That would work out a lot. But for those folks in Australia, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
It is great. It's really great. You know, a lot of times, because I don't have kids, sometimes, normally I'm up and at 'em, and I'm at a 9 a.m. workout class. But there are some days when I'm like, okay, I'm really tired. Maybe I traveled, whatever, and I'm just gonna sleep, and I may sleep till noon. I don't do that often because normally, like I said, I'm at my 9 a.m. workout class, and I follow that up by another workout, and then I do some errands.
No, that's awesome. That's great.
So sometimes I sleep, and I always have my phones on silent when I'm sleeping, you know, but it's like, what if I miss something?
Yeah. No, it's.
But I also need my sleep.
Yes.
So
we all need our sleep.
It weighs on me.
Amen.
And then you're like embarrassed because let's say you do miss like a text or call coming in from the office when on your off time, and you're like, it's like noon, and you're like, oh, I was still sleeping. Like
you just say you were trying to save a kitty from a drain or something. Like,
or like I was in my third workout class of the morning. Like,
no, don't.
What a psychopath, you know? I don't know. It's like embarrassing. I'm like, oh my gosh. But anyway, typically I get up at like 8:30. She gets up earlier because of the kids. So yeah, it's a lot to think about.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is.
Yeah. All right, we'll be right back. Okay, so becoming a social media influencer is now a dream for most young people, okay? This is like, what do you want to be when you grow up? A social media influencer? Like,
that's a thing.
It's a real thing. Yeah. So that's why the University of Texas at San Antonio is launching a degree program in becoming one. The university says the bachelor's degree in digital media influence is designed for aspiring content creators. I could teach this. I have a master's. Like,
you
sign me up. Students will work with staff to develop projects and coursework for their chosen audience. The program is available online. No word yet on when it will be offered to students.
You should be Professor Collins.
You know what? I feel like I would be a really good broadcasting on camera teacher, right? Because I love. Did you have that course in college?
Yes.
So you're in the TV studio and you are getting like picked apart by your professors and your peers, and well, at least my professor, this is different at every university, she would put in scripts to try to trip you up, you know, some tongue twisters, hard things to say, whatever, and you had to be all dressed up. I would have gotten points knocked off for not having my full makeup on and my hair volumized, you know, it was a whole thing.
Yes. At the school I went to, the teacher told me that I wasn't cut out to be on TV. And she had been an anchor in Tampa, Florida, which was apparently to her like a huge deal, which it is a big deal to be an anchor.
It's like market.
Anyway, we just
okay, good for her. Now you're in Houston, the 6th market. Did you hear that, teacher? She's in the 6th largest news market in the country as a main anchor.
Thank you. No, she was so rude, so mean. And there were so many people. Yeah, I even did newspaper, my first newspaper job. It was the Daily Skiff at TCU. I had said a quote where the guy actually said, I think he's crazy. And he was the geology professor. And then he called saying no, because that was like insinuating the person he was talking about was actually crazy. So I got a 0 on that. And then.
But you can't change a direct quote.
Right. But then everybody at the skiff, like the copy editors, the main editor, whatever, all looking at me all weird, like she shouldn't be doing this and you should go back to biology because that was my major.
Ew.
Yeah, it was, they were very, very mean.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
That's
it's okay.
so annoying.
But I just carved my own path and we're all good now.
Look at you. I'd love to see where all those other mean people are.
Actually, I'm the only one other than Chris Gutierrez who is at Merritt Street. In Dallas.
Wow, okay.
The only ones from TCU who are still.
Oh my gosh, I was actually today just messaging with one of my former professors. School starts today back in Pennsylvania, and he is teaching a producing class, and I was like going off in a text message. I was like, finally, in Market 6, I work with producers who can actually write. Writing is everything. Like,
oh my gosh, yes.
I mean, it literally took until, I've had very few good producers until I got here, and it's so nice to work with like amazing producers that can write active sentences in correct format, and then they even start writing how I talk. They'll throw in little words that I say, little phrases that I say, and then they'll be like, "Hey, Caroline,
I've noticed that."
Yeah, I threw this Gen Z phrase in. I know you'll pull it off. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I got." So anyway, it's so refreshing and so nice to work with people here who really know what they're doing. It's like, refreshing. But I still talk to my college professors, and the one who did on camera, this particular professor did like directing and all the mechanical stuff at the time. But the one that did the on camera, it was all an act with her. She would never like intentionally fail anyone as long as you're like putting in the effort, but she wanted to impose an artificial sense of pressure and kind of be the audience and hit us with some comments that actual viewers would hit us with, and so that was her intention, like creating artificial, but you don't really realize that when you're going through, and then you get through the class and even start your career and you're like, oh, she was doing that to prepare me for this. So I mean, and there were people that were like so bad, but she would, like, as long as they're putting in the effort and doing everything, like, she's not gonna fail you. But she'd be honest with you, you know?
I mean, I would say I think that was the hardest thing is not just the critiques, but the borderline insults sometimes that you would get. And I know you've experienced that too, but how to get through it because you're doubting yourself. There was a time where I doubted myself for everything when I was in Corpus Christi. This news director was awful, and she's now an agent. And that is just Anyway, worst 2 years of my whole life. It was awful, awful, awful. But anyway, it was because she was so mean to all the women. And it was one of those.
But there's a huge difference in criticism and constructive criticism. And I face and still face exactly both. And there is a real difference.
We did today. I did with the comment made by someone at.
I can't remember. You don't have to say it now.
Okay.
But I was going to say, you just kind of like smile and get through it. But I have been told a lot of difficult and hard things, but some of those things have really helped me. And other things, like I've been told that my body's crooked and I look crooked on the anchor desk. What the heck is that helping? That's not helping anything. That's just a straight like insult to me.
Yeah, but those people whenever someone says something like that to me now, or like one thing.
And it was a woman who said it.
Yeah,
so.
Women are harsh. Yeah. Women are harsh. It was like, you need to get that mole removed on your face because it's so distracting, something, whatever. But, my instant reaction is like, I feel sorry for you that you're like that miserable. Like, honestly, you're that miserable to say something like that out loud and even think that.
You know what always kind of stung me more is when, and this would happen a lot in a smaller market that I worked at, some of the anchors or people who worked at the station who were like higher up would be like, oh, your news director likes your hair shorter like that. She said it looks a lot better. I'm like, well, then why doesn't she just tell me? Like, why are you telling me?
Yeah.
And that felt like really weird to me. Like, you can just say it to me.
Yes. And I think that because we're on air, people just automatically assume we're up for critique at all times.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
totally.
That dress didn't really work out that one day that you were wearing it.
Yeah.
It didn't really,
Or the best is like, I don't like that outfit. Okay. What's the problem with it? I don't know. I just don't like it. Okay, like, can you give me a little more?
Yes, like, is this constructive?
Yeah, or like you're just telling me you don't like my outfit.
You don't like my outfit.
I really do also like.
For another one.
If there is one thing I really can stand behind myself on and I'm really confident in, like, it really is how I dress and present myself. Like, my makeup's not fully done right now, but like all the dresses that I select and outfits that I put together, like I know that they are appropriate and that they're good for on air. And so it's like when you get a critique or criticism like that, it's kind of like, ouch.
Bye.
Like, what?
Bye. That's when I say bye.
Like, it's so weird, but you know, it's the career we chose. But now, you know, we were warned about this in college, at least I was in those classes. Social media influencers, and I know that you could say that this is obvious, but they're not really warned of the public criticism beforehand, and then they start posting videos. Maybe they're just like posting videos for fun because like they think it's fun, and then they start blowing up, and then they get all this criticism. Like, at least we were warned about it.
Yes, at least we were warned about it. Yes.
Yeah, we were told. But anyway, that class sounds really interesting and cool. I'll have to look more into it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Bye.